Many of the KKK, they call themselves Bloods or Crips, gangster disciples. They call themselves gangster rappers. And now they call themselves Black Twitter. And that's like the marketing arm of the Black KKK. Here, last night or 2 nights ago, they named a suspect in the Sacramento shooting. DeAndre Martin, I believe, is the guy's name, and his arrest or his, he got arrested. They're not sure if he's a shooter, but they think he's involved. And initially, that's DeAndre or whatever his name is, Martin, one of the suspects. And initially over Twitter, people mistakenly Googled DeAndre and came up with a guy that looks kind of Russian or white. He's wearing looks like he's wearing one of those hats. I don't know if that's his hat or it's his hair, but initially over Twitter, people thought that was DeAndre Martin, and there was a celebration because the Sacramento shooter that killed several black people outside of a nightclub, I think there was some Latino people also killed, but there was a celebration because it was like, oh my God, the shooter's a white guy, and we can continue with our racial divided narrative, and Black Twitter can celebrate, and we got something to work with here. And then very quickly, people figured out, nah, that ain't DeAndre Martin, and they came up with the real DeAndre Martin, and then all of a sudden, the pendulum swung the other way, and just as I suspected, this is the typical gang activity that has plagued major cities across America for many years. And today, or earlier today, or late last night, a second suspect, DeAndre's brother, who goes by the name of Smiley Martin, he was arrested. And he's, again, we don't know if he's a shooter, but he's involved. And anyway, to me, this pointed out part of the lunacy of social media and Twitter and the racial divide and the racial conversation of Twitter and this whole phenomenon that we started calling 8-10 years ago, Black Twitter. And what I call Black Twitter basically is the marketing arm of the Black KKK. And I have used the term the Black KKK for years. And I've talked about how the original KKK, white men in hoods that terrorized black communities, lynched black people, threatened them, bullied them with the threat of violence, called them the N-word repeatedly. That was their favorite pet word for black people. I have argued that the Black KKK has replaced the original KKK. And many of the KKK, they call themselves Bloods or Crips, gangster disciples. They call themselves gangster rappers. And now they call themselves Black Twitter. And that's like the marketing arm of the Black KKK. They defend, nothing to see here. Black KKK, they're dropping bodies all over America, black bodies all over America, Chicago, Baltimore, Sacramento, Indianapolis, Philadelphia, everywhere. The Black KKK just terrorizes communities. Their favorite word is the N-word. Often the last thing their victims hear before their death is, I smoked that N-word. And the N-word is, somehow this term of endearment and, but it's the favorite word of the people who are doing a lot of violence towards black people. And so I started using this term, I think in 2006, 2007, and it may have had something to do, if my memory serves me right, when Sean Taylor, the Washington Redskins football great, was killed in his home, I think that was the first time I used the term the Black KKK, saying that's who likely killed him. Some black dudes or gang members or whatever. And people lost their mind. And some people loved it. Black liberals hated it. Oh, this is offensive. This is painful. Oh, the KKK did all of this damage to us 100 years ago. And for anybody to make any analogy to them is reprehensible. I'm like, well, tell me what the Bloods and the Crips, what's the difference between them and the KKK?